Number 10. 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi, 15.37 seconds. The mid-sized muscle car entered the U.S. automotive market as a roadrunner that was lower priced and a basic trim alternative to the upscale GTX. At that time, many muscle cars were priced really high, making things difficult for buyers. Plymouth wanted to make a car that had the same features but had a lower price. The initial models were built as two-door pillared coupes. The interior was not very unique. With basic vinyl bench seats and no carpet, it was like any other car at that time. But there were options for AM radio, air conditioning, and power steering. It was built with a 383 cubic V8 engine, along with a 4-barrel Carter carburetor that produced 335 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque. The Roadrunner was a bargain performance version of the GTX. To complete a quarter-mile drag race, it took 115.37 seconds at 91.4 miles per hour and a top speed of 122 miles per hour for the Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi. Number 9. 1968 Shelby GT500 KR, 14.8 seconds. Known as the King of the Road, the 1968 Shelby GT500 KR was Ford's flagship performance car in 1968. Built as a street and strip car, this muscle car had a 7.0-liter, 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8 engine that produced around 400 horsepower. This one was a more muscle-bound Shelby. The Mustang suspension with power steering brakes and the 4 manifold bolts per exhaust port made it a serious performer. With its high performance, the GT500 KR could complete a quarter mile in just 14.8 seconds. This wasn't the best speed among the muscle cars in the 1960s, but it was still among a few of the fastest cars at the time. Number 8. 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge, 13.9 seconds. The Pontiac GTO is a front-engine, rear-drive, 2-door and 4-passenger muscle car. The first generation of the Pontiac GTO Judge is responsible for popularizing the muscle cars market in the 1960s, and with the emerging popularity of muscle cars, this became the leader of the trend. Initially introduced as a response to the declining sales of the GTO, this was only available in 1969. The GTO Judge was successful in turning things around for Pontiac. With a rear spoiler, striped body paint, and the freedom to choose between the two engines, it was available as both a hardtop and a convertible. Equipped with the Ram Air 3 400 cubic inch V8 engine that could produce 366 horsepower, the FTO Judge was capable of completing a quarter of a mile in just 13.9 seconds. Number 7. 1969 Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat, 13.8 seconds. The 1969 Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat was the only factory-backed GTO that was equipped with the Ram Air 5 engine. This special high-performance version of the GTO was modified by the Royal Pontiac dealership in Michigan. As the symbol of the iconic partnership, the vehicle was built with the best features. The Royal Pontiac dealership offered tuning kits called Royal Bobcat packages, which were designed to extract maximum performance from the GTO's engine. Because of these enhanced components, the GTO Royal Bobcat could complete a quarter of a mile in just 13.8 seconds, which was pretty fast as compared to many muscle cars of the time. As the dealership version, this was highly sought after among collectors and automotive enthusiasts. Even today, it is known as one of the finest examples of how dealer-tuned muscle cars can enhance performance. Number 6. 1969 Hurst Oldsmobile 442, 13.7 seconds. The Hurst Oldsmobile came as a shocker in the 1969 automotive market. No one expected a conservative manufacturer to come with such a high-performance muscle car. Initially introduced as an option package for the F85 and Cutlass models, the Oldsmobile 442 became a model on its own in 1969. As the name explains, the car was built with a 4-barrel carburetor, 4-speed manual transmission, and dual exhaust. A typical Hydromatic 400 3-speed automatic transmission with a Hurst dual-gate shifter made it eligible to complete a quarter of a mile in just 13.7 seconds. With the 442 features and a powerful engine, the Hurst Oldsmobile 442 was not just a muscle car. It was a statement in the 1969 automotive market. As a special edition car built to compete with the Pontiac GTO, only 914 units of the Oldsmobile 442 were built in 1969, which made it one of the most rare and highly sought muscle cars of the time. Number 5. 1969 Plymouth GTX 440, 13.5 seconds. The Plymouth GTX 440 was introduced in 1967 as a mid-sized, upscale trimmed performance muscle car. Built with a Plymouth 440 cubic inch V8 engine rated at 425 horsepower, 490 pound-feet of torque, and a heavy-duty suspension system, the vehicle was inspired by the Plymouth Road Runner. However, because of its current value, the GTX is ranked slightly higher than the Plymouth Road Runner. The Plymouth GTX 400 was produced for only a few years. The first generation lasted for only 1 year, which was 1967. The second generation lasted from 1968 to 1970, and the third generation was in 1971. The Plymouth GTX 400 was extremely fast in the quarter mile. It could easily do a quarter mile in 13.5 seconds, with a top speed of 105 miles per hour. The relatively lightweight body helped with enhancing the quarter-mile drag race prowess. Number 4. 1969 Ford Mustang 428 Cobra Jet, 13.5 seconds. The 1969 Ford Mustang was based on the staid 428 SID big car engine. With ram air induction and a functional hood scoop, the Cobra was offered in Mustang fastbacks and coupes. The vehicle had a special air cleaner with a vacuum-accentuated butterfly valve that was connected to the 735 CFM Holley 4-barrel carburetor. As one of the best American muscle cars, the Ford Mustang 428 was built with a 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8 engine along with a 4-speed close-ratio manual transmission. With its 428 cubic inch V8 engine producing around 400 horsepower, the vehicle could easily complete a quarter-mile drag race in just 13.5 seconds. As per the standards back in the 1960s, this was extremely impressive, and the vehicle was available to only a chosen few, which made it one of the most anticipated muscle cars of all time. Number 3. 1969 Dodge Dart 440, 13.5 seconds. The Dodge Dart 440 was so massive that it could put many other muscle cars to shame. With a huge big block V8 engine that took all the space in the engine bay, leaving no room for a brake booster or power engine, the Dodge Dart was one of the most challenging muscle cars. Powered by an M-Code 440 cubic inch 375 horsepower engine, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5 seconds. It was an excellent choice for drag racing. With its ability to complete a quarter mile in just 13.5 seconds, the Dart 440 was an upmarket trim version of the Dodge Dart series. Having the standard equipment of Dart and the Dart 330, the Dart 440 was available as a 4-door sedan, 2-door hardtop, 4-door hardtop, 2-door convertible, and 4-door station wagon. Even the wheelbase of 116 inches was inspired by the Dart, Dart 330, and the Polara 500. Number 2. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, 13.2 seconds. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro was once labeled as the greatest Chevy Super of all time. Built by Fred Gibb and Dick Harrell, this one was more expensive, but it was fair because it had the fastest quarter-mile time for a muscle car in the 1960s. This all-aluminum ZL1 was based on the Corvette Ironhead's L88, but it had upgraded details, such as open-chamber heads that moved cubic tons of volume and made enormous horsepower and torque. Built with a 427 cubic inch V8 engine that rated at 430 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, the Camaro ZL1 could go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in 12.5 seconds. With its powerful engine, the vehicle could complete a quarter mile in just 13.2 seconds at the speed of 110.6 miles per hour, making it one of the rarest and most sought-after muscle cars ever. Number 1. 1966 Shelby AC Cobra 427 Super Snake, 12.4 seconds. The 1966 Shelby AC Cobra 427 was built with a 427 cubic inch Ford big block engine with twin superchargers that produced 800 horsepower. With a top speed of 190 miles per hour, this vehicle could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds. The monstrous 427 SID engine paired with a super 3-speed automatic transmission made it so slick that it could complete the quarter of a mile in just 12.4 seconds. The Super Snake was a special high-performance variant of the 427 Shelby Cobra, created as a top-of-the-line promotional vehicle from the existing Cobra 427 competition cars. The CSX 3015 is the only Shelby Cobra Super Snake still remaining.